with Harendra Kumar, Managing Director, Institutional Equities with Elara Capital. Harendra, in the run-up to the state elections, markets have been volatile. VIX also has been high. But now that the exit polls are out and political pundits are pointing to a clean victory for BJP, do you think the uncertainty factor for markets will subside?
Yeah, so if you see the rally from 5,000 to 6,000 has been on the back of some optimism on BJP coming back to power. I think the margin of victory will clearly determine whether we will go, on the higher side with stronger momentum. And Delhi also is very critical here, is because I think the market will try and get a sense whether the Modi factor is working actually for the urban voter. And but clearly, from what you see on the GDP numbers that got announced last week and the outlook for the polls, you can expect a good amount of optimism from here up to the run-up of the general elections.
So, do you think markets is on course to make a new high, or a new high on the index, at least on the Nifty, is still a distance away?
Yeah, I think, Nikon, the market will make a new high and closer ahead of the general elections itself. But we're a little circumspect on what the trend will be post-elections, because generally markets either topped out or cracked closer to May. That's been our cyclical analysis. So yes, we're quite confident about the rally from here up to the elections, but it will be wait and watch post-election. So yes, we'll be on the longer side of the market over the next 4-5 months.
Harendra, what pockets would you then be bullish on? Would metals be one of them, considering the kind of run-up that we've seen in the past?
One clearly will be PSU bank stocks. I think they're already looking to outperform private banks, and the liquidity on these stocks extremely low. Other is the power sector stocks. I think they clearly oversold. The power grid FPU has sailed through. There is a renewed sense of optimism in the sector. I think overall on the macro front, people are looking to cherry pick some of these industrials. I think they'll be the first to rally from here on, and obviously then there will be a broad-based rally.
Harendra, one root reason why markets have gone up is because of flows. Up until now, we've not seen a lot of supply from the government stable, but I'm sure the success of power grid could be a tempting indicator for the government to really start pumping or start increasing their paper supply. Could that be an impediment? If $2-3 billion of fresh paper hits the primary market before March 2014, will that really challenge the fund flow setup?
No, in fact, it will be a catalyst, at least this time around. That would be my sense. So I was on a global roadshow, meeting a lot of global investors. And for the first time over the last 1 year, let me tell you, Nikunj, they are looking very aggressively in terms of allocating fresh money into India. So elections clearly is a trigger out there. And if the GDP recovers, you could see a fresh surge of inflows. And I think at that time, if the disinvestment does kind of get announced or executed, it will flow through. But that will also lead to a flow-through effect to some of the other stocks that these investors are looking to invest.
Harendra, you just talk about as to how you feel that the rally is going to first start with the PSU banking cluster. What names are you bullish on there? Because again, there is a wide variety of names over there.
Yeah, so it would be start up with, currently BOI, BOB, PNB. These are some of the stocks that will clearly look to continue to move up from where they've started off. But in terms of absolute cherry picking, I'm sure there is some institutional investors. Oriental Bank of Commerce, its absolute valuation is extremely low for a franchise that is, of course, it has NPA issues, etc. But I think investors are looking at a 3-year view from here on, rather than trying to look and figure out what the past has been. So yes, these are interesting times for some of these beaten down stocks. One argument that's come up is some of the bank valuations are closer to the Lehman crisis days or 08. And is the world a worse off place or a better place today? I'm sure it's a better off. And that's clearly what investors are looking at. So their outlook is pegged for the next 3 years and not at the immediate. And that's how they're looking at some of the stocks now.
So Harendra, from now to the May elections, tactically, what is it that you are telling your clients? Is it time to now tank up, or is it time to just lay low, figure out what the election decision is and then perhaps take a call?
Yeah, so for the benchmark-driven guys, I think they should go on the front foot because that's the small window that they get to outperform the benchmark indices. For a long-only guy, it's a little more difficult because clearly it's going to be a very good momentum trade. But whether he wants to participate in such a momentum trade is up to them totally. But clearly, if you're looking at a long-term view towards India, it's an interesting time to starting to cherry pick. That's clearly what I advise us.
Haren, as a group, autos are taking it slightly easy. This week, markets are not very gung-ho on buying into auto stocks. The monthly dispatch numbers for the month of November were not all that encouraging. Would you use the current decline, let's say in a Tata Motors or a Hero MotoCorp or Bajaj Auto to buy more, or auto for the moment they have seen some degree of run-up?
They'll consolidate around these levels for the next 2 months. But if you're asking me on the outlook for the next of the whole calendar year, I would tend to say Maruti and Hero would be, strong contenders to outperform the markets. Clearly, we're looking at crude to soften up with QE tapering. I think and with interest rates peaking, will be a huge fillip to Hero as well as the domestic franchise of Maruti. We're not so sure on the CV cycle picking up yet. Hence, we're not so optimistic on Ashok Leyland or for that matter, Tata Motors locally. Maruti and Hero, I think, will continue to outperform rest of the pack.
Why are you bullish on Hero MotoCorp? Because the competition in the two-wheeler market has only intensified. No one is enjoying a pricing